Today we are talking about Mars going into the sign of Capricorn, which it will do on December 15, and it will be there until January 23rd, 2026. In this video, we're going to talk about the aspects that Mars will make while it travels through Capricorn, and then we will go sign by sign. There'll be timestamps in the description so you can jump to the parts that you want to listen to. As Mars goes through Capricorn, you're going to hear that it is in the sign of exaltation. And that is when Mars is in Capricorn. Many people see it as being even better placement than having, say, Mars in Aries. Now, as a modern astrologer, I don't give a lot of credence to the dignities. I think that there are good points and bad points for Mars being in any sign. That's not to say that Mars in Capricorn is not very useful. Capricorn is about building something or becoming an expert or an authority at something. And when you put Mars with that, that can be great because Mars is assertive. But Mars in Capricorn can also be very focused on achievement, even at the cost of friendships, relationships, and other important things. Now, as Mars goes into the sign of Capricorn on December 14, and that will be December 15 if you live back east. This is a chart set for San Diego, California. We see that Mars is way out of bounds. And so a Mars out of bounds indicates that it's willing to go and do things that other people may not want to do. It's willing to color outside the lines, to break the rules, to take some chances. So with the Mars out of bounds, that means that it is time to go outside your comfort zone and take action in areas where maybe you've held back before. Another thing about Mars as it's in Capricorn here is that it's now past the Uranus, it's past the Neptune, it's past the Saturn, and so it's free of some of those influences, at least for a while. Now, it still has Pluto to contend with, but that is just a semi-sextile. Pluto here is, of course, about power and control. And as Mars goes into Capricorn, maybe you want some power and control, but you don't have it in all the areas you want it in. And so that's where some of those adjustments will come in. I love the fact that this ingress chart of Mars going into the sign of Capricorn features a nice sextile with the moon. That means that your emotions are behind what you're trying to do. And because the moon was there a few hours before, it's that you emotionally decided something and then Mars is ready to take action. Now on December 18, Mars does make that exact semi-sextile to Pluto. And on that day, you may find that you're frustrated with what you're able to accomplish, or that there may be some obstacles in the road, which do require some small adjustments on your part. Semi-sextile means that you could, perhaps do something a little bit later or tweak it slightly and then it will work. A semi-sextile, while it's an irritating aspect, is not that difficult an aspect. It also does give you the ability to connect because we think of a semi-sextile as like being trapped in the back seat with an irritating sibling. The two of you do have some basis of getting along, especially with this configuration because Saturn is in Capricorn, Mars is in Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn, and Pluto is in Aquarius, which is co-ruled by Saturn. So the basis for this, or basically the goal for this, is going to be similar. That said, if you are trying to deal with something that is very delicate, some sort of negotiations, recognize that there's going to be irritations on one side or the other. Then on December 29, Mars makes an aspect to the North Node by sextile and the South Node by trine. Now, it's interesting that between December 18 and December 29, there were no Mars aspects, which could mean that you were working on something all of that time, or that you had some sort of, big effort and then, the holidays got in the way or something like that. But here on December 29, now we have an opportunity. Now, it's interesting with this energy because Mars actually has an easier way of going backward towards that south node, and it's slightly more difficult way to go to the north node, your life path. So that is that you will see that there's an easy route, and that's generally not the way to go, but it's going to seem easy and comfortable and things just come together. Or the slightly harder route, which actually leads to something that's better. So this is an aspect just to be paying attention to if you're given a choice. Kind of think about doing the thing that you haven't done before or the thing that pulls you just slightly out of your comfort zone. Then on December 31st, or for those of you back east, this would be January 1st, Mars is going to make a sesquiquadrate to Uranus. So the sesquiquadrate, just the symbol alone tells us how difficult this is because it is a square with a semi-square. And so 135 degrees, it is about constant adjustment. This is more difficult than an inconjunct. This is to make a change, to make another change, to make another change, to make another change. And Uranus, of course, is all these sudden different things that are happening that, something breaks or some sort of surprise is there or that something is unexpectedly in your way. So during this time, especially if you're traveling, try to be really patient. There could be interruptions based on weather or just traffic and so many people out in the world. If there are other things that you're trying to do, then consider, especially as we go sign by sign, that this could be a day where you have difficulty with something related to the houses that are involved in your chart. And then on January 9, what we see is Mars is sandwiched in between the Sun and Venus. It is feeling very cozy between the talents and opportunities that the Sun brings, and then Venus is what we want. This is a day where you could feel a lot of confidence, but you're also going to feel quite impatient. This is a day where you can get what you want, but if it doesn't arrive immediately, you could be like tapping on the table a little bit. But I do think that this energy is absolutely wonderful for stepping up on stage, taking the mic, or leading a meeting. This would be really good for doing job negotiations, really good for starting a project, getting something going that's important to you, going after what it is that you want. Doing any sort of competition on this day would be good if you're doing something with sports. This is also good money-making opportunities. So it has a lot of good energy. Just watch out for that impatience in yourself and people around you. Then on January 10, Mars makes an opposition to Jupiter. So this gives you some sort of ability to expand. Somebody offers you something, you have a little bit more luck, especially when you meet someone halfway. When you say, all right, I will compromise in some area, then you find that they compromise and you both win. So this is a really good time for doing some sort of negotiations. If you are looking for a new job or you're buying a house or maybe buying a car. This could also be just where you're trying to settle something with someone that you care about, settle something with a friend. If you are in any sort of legal matters, this could be a better time, especially again, if you compromise, they're going to compromise and you'll come together. Then on January 13, Mars makes a square to Chiron. So a square to Chiron is an opportunity for some healing, but Chiron's usually activated by us healing someone else or helping someone else, and then in that process we're healed. This is Capricorn and Aries, so this would be helping someone take action or helping them understand that they have some autonomy in their life, they have some authority, And so if this is something to do with your kids, this is letting your kids make a decision. If this is something, where you're dealing with someone who's uncertain about their abilities, this is you encouraging them. And in that process, you make realizations and you are healed. Then on January 16, we're going to see a busy couple of days. And that starts with Mars making a semi-square to the North Node. That is right here. So a semi-square. So that is, generally when we're looking at North Node, before it was the sextile, and the sextile is something that's slightly outside your comfort zone. This is an opportunity that is real, but it is quite a ways outside your comfort zone. This is taking you in a whole new direction. And so the opportunity is there. And of course, Mars in Capricorn is pretty ambitious. We've got enough Capricorn actually energy to make anyone ambitious. And so you may be very interested in taking this opportunity. Then on January 17, Mars conjuncts Mercury. And as Mars catches up with Mercury, basically, your thoughts, your ideas, and your action become one. And in that, this can be a very argumentative sort of energy. And so you have to watch as other people try to stop you from doing something and then an argument breaks out, or you're very determined to do what you want and move forward, and you're not going to let anybody say no. You're not going to let anybody stop you. So on the positive, this can be a really great time for doing difficult work, to get something done. But when someone stands in your way, there will be an argument. The high energy continues when we get to Monday, January 19, because Mars is going to make a trine to that Uranus, bringing unexpected opportunities, as well as a sextile to Saturn, which means that these could be business opportunities or career-related opportunities, but these could also be opportunities for you to step up and take some sort of role as an authority, as a leader. So this combination can be extremely beneficial when we have a sextile chain going on with the Mars making a sextile to Saturn and Saturn making a sextile to Uranus. So this is a time where you might want to do some marketing, where you might want to promote yourself, schedule an interview, send out your resume, reach out to people on LinkedIn. So doing things, especially around business, but also things around reputation or things that help you gain more skills and more abilities that you can then later use in the world. All of these things would be good to at least initiate on this day. And then on January 22nd, Mars at 29 degrees 55 minutes, so it means it's almost in Aquarius. It makes one last aspect to Neptune as a sextile. So Mars sextile Neptune is kind of like where you have you pulled the plug on the bathtub and the water starts to run out. Not necessarily really, really fast, because this is a sextile, but it is your energy may feel a little bit drained at this time. This is a really good time for meditation, yoga, Tai Chi, doing anything that's spiritual, doing meditation. Did I say meditation already? Journaling, affirmations. So, communing with the universe, going out and looking at the stars. Those sort of activities would be very good with this energy. You may also feel more humanitarian at this time. You might go do some charity work. You might be helping a friend or a family member. So the energy here is quite positive. It's because it is that sextile with the Neptune also can make you feel like you're a little drained and you just want to sit around and watch YouTube all day. Now let's go sign by sign, starting with Aries. And of course, you guys have Mars right at the top of your chart. Really good placement for career opportunities, business opportunities. It's going to be very easy for you to take action, especially if you are in something where you can use your own efforts to do things, to, push the business forward, push your department forward. If you're retired, this would be doing things that actively serve your reputation. That can mean that you are posting on social media, or that you are exploring the world, and that is helping you meet people and make important connections. So this is very good placement for you. You really do want to utilize this. Remember, Mars takes 2 years to go all the way around the chart. And so this is something that you haven't experienced in a couple of years, and I think you're going to find that this gives you a lot of opportunities, especially for business and career. Now for Taurus or Taurus rising, Mars moves into your 9th house. 9th house is about higher education, so that is college, getting a degree, doing specialized programs. With Mars, you're going to put a lot of energy into this, a lot of activity towards this. It is also about travel, and so you may be traveling during this time, especially for business because it's in Capricorn, but in general also. And so that is it. Even if you're traveling for pleasure, you're probably going to meet people potentially for business contacts, or you're going to meet people where you feel they are some sort of authority, they're very respectable, they can offer you something. So the Mars in this house is also suggesting activity to clean up any legal matters that you have. You'll have a lot of energy to work on things like, if you're doing some sort of credentials or working with the government, this is very good energy for that. For Gemini or Gemini rising, Mars comes down into your area of resources from others, as well as intimacy and power. So, and I know this sounds unrelated, but when we talk about intimacy, while it can be a sexual relationship, it generally is knowing someone well enough that you know their secrets. And oftentimes secrets can be of a financial nature, so that's where these two kind of get mushed together. This Mars placement for you says that you may do more activity towards business. You may do a lot of things around your investments. This could be that it's necessary for you to ask for favors so that you can work on your receiving muscles, so that you can feel more comfortable receiving. If you are dating, you may take the relationship to a more intimate level. You may find out some things, some secrets about someone you know, and that helps you become closer. This is also about power, and so that is taking action so that you can gain power. That would be having more autonomy over your life, saying that you want to do something rather than having everyone else's opinions being something that you consider. Now for Cancer and Cancer rising, of course, when Mars is in Capricorn, now it's in your opposite sign. It's going through your 7th house during this transit, and that means that it's going to bring a lot of people to you, and so that helps you work out relationships, friendships, and connections with others. It can bring very energetic people to you. It can bring more men into your life, so there are some opportunities that way. 7th house is also the area of open enemies, and that is people that know you, but you're still having some sort of issue with, and that with the Mars there can mean that the relationships between you and these people become contentious. You'll have to watch out for those periods that we talked about arguing or impatience. This is also where you're actively working to try to balance your life, maybe work-life balance, but also other types of balance, maybe through exercise or how you eat or something like that. You may actively be working on bringing more beauty into your life as well, and that could be personal beauty things or to beautify the home. Now for Leo and Leo rising, this Mars now is going to occupy your 6th house. That means that this could be a busy time, lots of work opportunities, working with other people, being on a team, having people on the team change. This can also mean that you're hiring people or letting people go in your own company. This can also be related to people who work for you within the home. So that can be, the technicians or the repair people or cleaning people. When Mars goes through this house, and it hasn't done this for 2 years, you may get a lot more energy and want to do more exercise. You may want to be in competition, and so that could be entering a marathon or some sort of other type of race, maybe join a league. This can also have you actively pursuing better health through eating differently, change of habits. This can interrupt your sleep a little bit though, because this is a high energy placement in a house where it's not easy to dial things back. Now for Virgo or Virgo rising, of course Mars in Capricorn is very harmonious energy for you. It's going to occupy your 5th house, and that is about creativity, risk-taking. It's your kids, and it's also romantic encounters. So the Mars there can really jumpstart your creative process. You may take a lot of action towards doing creative things, piles of stuff that have just sat around. Suddenly you get excited about. You can do all of these different things. It is about risk-taking, and Mars is the most assertive of the planets, so it can really push you forward to get outside your comfort zone, to perform your music, to show your art, or to just ask for what it is that you want. The Mars here also means more activity around children, or if you are doing something around fertility, you may, go to the appointments for the doctor, or look into adoption. This is with your kids. This can be that they're very busy, that you're running them from place to place, or that you are dealing with how they might be frustrated in different areas, and you might be helping them to clear some of the blocks that they're feeling. And then this is about romance, and even though Mars is men, it doesn't necessarily mean exactly that you're meeting men. It can mean that you're meeting someone who is assertive, and that would be that the other person asks you out, that they are pursuing you. But this can mean men specifically, and so if that's what you're interested in, this is an opportunity to find someone for a love relationship who has some of that male energy. For Libra or Libra rising, we have a lot of activity now in the area of home and family. This is about your dwelling, and so you may be doing some home repairs. There may be some changes going on. Maybe you're decluttering. You might be bringing some sort of work into the home. You could be bringing workmen, specifically male energy, into the home. This is also about maybe more interaction with family members. This could mean that family members are coming in and out, maybe visiting, that there is activities that you're doing as a family. This can be some contentious energy with Libra, and so that could also lead to arguments. So watch out on those days that we talked about, the debating aspects and also the impatient aspects. And this could also, though, be quite beneficial if you are helping a relative move, if you are selling your own house, if you're packing up, if you're in real estate. This can be quite helpful as well. Now for Scorpio or Scorpio rising, this Mars falls in your area, 3rd house, which is your area of short distance travel. It's about communication, thinking process. It is writing and teaching, and so all of these things add up to Mars wanting more activity. So your brain could be really, really just zipping along. You might do more writing. You might be handling lots of correspondence or trying to clean all the stuff off of your phone. This could be more interaction during this time with siblings, especially male siblings or cousins. This could be more interaction with neighbors, but watch out because Mars can get contentious, it can get very assertive, and on some of those days that we were talking about with arguments or impatience, those days could be challenging when you're interacting with siblings, close relatives, or your neighbors. This is also about your vehicle, and so you want to when we combine assertiveness with driving, we can get speeding or some reckless behavior. So be careful on the road and try to pull back that energy. Also be wary of other drivers. So making sure that you stay away from anyone who seems to be driving aggressively. This is, though, some interesting energy for getting a new vehicle or looking at different ways of getting around town. There's also some possibility of dealing with contracts and agreements, especially if some negotiation is needed. Now for Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising, you finally have Mars going through your house of money. This is the first time in 2 years, and so this is really an opportunity to look for money-making opportunities. That was a lot of opportunities. So this could bring a new revenue stream. This could bring new activities that bring you income or some sort of benefit. If you're selling items, and you could sell quite a few items. If you are looking for a job, this could bring an opportunity. Now, the Mars here is also very important. It's about working on your self-worth and your sense of deserving. And so this is actively working on that, maybe through some sort of connection with someone else or an activity like journaling or talking it through. The Mars here can really help you because Mars is so active that it can focus your energy to make a breakthrough. The Mars also in this placement asks you to pay attention to your finances and how the whole mechanisms of making money work. So this is looking at your investments and your savings accounts and your debt and seeing if there's a better way of doing things. It's looking at your budget and working things out. Now this is a very physical energy, very active energy, and that doesn't necessarily like sitting down and working on spreadsheets. So the activities could be going to meetings where you learn about these things, finding a partner where you can share this information with, like a broker or a financial planner, or actually, like doing your spreadsheets on the wall so you can stand up and look at the whole picture. Now, Capricorn, of course, Mars is now finally in your own sign, first time in 2 years. This gives you a lot of energy. You're able to tackle more things. You're more likely to step up and take a leadership role. You are more likely to be seen as a leader and be chosen as the person in charge. Now, you can come across as being both assertive or even aggressive, and so that you want to keep that in mind if you're dealing with people who are timid, that you may have to dial things back. Now, this Mars is also in a very physical house. That means more exercise may happen, more strength training, that you can find your body shaping in the direction you want. It's only a short period of time, but this could set the tone for the whole 2 years. So those could be very beneficial. This is also very strong energy for relationships, especially with men. Although anybody who has some masculine energy, that can be facilitated with Mars now going through your first house. So this is some powerful energy for collaborations, finding a mentor or someone you respect as a teacher, or you becoming the teacher, you becoming the mentor, or finding a love relationship, although it would be quite a fiery one, it would be quite exciting one. And in all of this, you actually have more energy to do all of these things. Now, Aquarius and Aquarius rising, this Mars is now heading through your 12th house. And actually, you'll be surprised to hear, but that is a high energy placement. That is that the energy happens behind the scenes, that you show up and everything is done because you worked on it. This can mean, though, that you're staying up all night to work on things because you feel such enthusiasm, such energy to do it. So this is a very strong placement for more energy, especially if you are working on your health, if you are doing some exercise, if you are doing some sort of health protocol, you're very active about it, you're very much looking to make it happen. This is also very good for working on your spirituality, so that is actively working on your psychic ability, doing dreams, writing down your dreams, or doing lucid dreaming. This can be very good for past life regression, where you go back and interact with past lives and bring information forward. And just general meditation, especially moving meditations like walking or Tai Chi or yoga, it's very good with this energy. Now, this energy can also bring you a lot of focus on escaping, and so if you already play a lot of video games, you might play more, or if there's some other addictive activity in your life, then you want to be wary of getting too involved in it, because this is such great energy for spiritual work or working behind the scenes that you don't want to waste it just sitting in front of the TV. And then if you're Pisces or Pisces rising, then Mars is traveling through your 11th house. This is very much about friendships and connecting with people, especially your male friends or your friends who have a lot of strong male energy. This might mean that you're doing more activities with friends, maybe going skiing or bowling or something where there's a physical component to it. This can mean that you are traveling to see these people, to connect with them. You're doing something maybe on a business trip, of taking a little side trip so that you can see people. This is also about actively working with technology, so you may be doing some extra technology with work, or you may decide that you're going to take a course and learn something about technology, or you're installing a new motherboard, or I don't even know if they still have motherboards. So this is very much, though, and the most important thing is about goal setting. So this area for your chart is only hit by Mars once every 2 years. So this is a time to pull out your goals and take an action about your goals, even if it's a tiny little action, even if it's just one little phone call, one little email, just to get the ball rolling. This is really important because that sets the tone and keeps the momentum going throughout the 2-year cycle of Mars. So it can be extremely helpful to look at what it is that you want and then put your foot on that path during this Mars transit. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Did you know that I put out a weekly illustrated newsletter? And so if you like astrology and you love black cats, you're going to love this newsletter. There is a link to subscribe in the description, and I will see you in the next video.